So let's take a look at an example that is actually really very much like the one we just did. So we've got a car here. It's starting from rest, so it's not actually moving yet. And then in the next second, it's going this fast. I'm just going to draw my dot almost right underneath where the middle of this car is. I know sometimes we measure it from the front, but I can't even tell where the front is over there. So I'm going under the like top here of the window because I can see that on this car. And it's accelerating in the same direction as its velocity is. So I've marked my little motion diagram just like we did in our last unit. And so I'm going to draw my velocity vectors that just go from one dot to the next. I'm having a hard time seeing those. There we go. Hold my pen right, I can see it better. Okay. And so just like I did before, I'm going to add my acceleration arrows. So here's the length of my first one. Oh, it's only a tiny little bit extra, so just a little bitty acceleration arrow. And here it's just a little bit longer than that. And here, let me actually measure that one. And it looks like it's about that much longer. I didn't actually measure that one either. There, that one's almost the same length, so that's a really short acceleration arrow. And then this one is quite a bit longer, so that one might have a longer acceleration arrow. But the point is that I'm accelerating. My arrows are getting longer, and so I've got the acceleration arrow to show that it's getting longer. One way to think about this is well, hang on, we'll do this next one and then I'll tell you that. So that was example 1. Let's look at example 2 together here. So here's my number line. We'll start at 0 here. This time my car is right here, and now look at it's slowing down to a stop. So my dots are actually getting closer together this time. I can't tell if it's actually stopping. Maybe I would draw my stacked dots there if it comes to a stop. But the acceleration is in the opposite direction. And draw my arrows getting shorter. Shorter arrows, shorter arrows. I can't draw straight lines today. Shorter arrows, okay? So this time, I gotta think about it this way. So here is how long my arrow is, and that right here is how much shorter it is. So I'm actually gonna draw my arrow, my acceleration arrow pointing in the opposite direction. And so I've lopped off that much of the arrow. And here, I've lopped off this much of the arrow, so I'm going to draw it that way. And here I've lopped off this much more of the arrow, so I'm going to point it that way. And here I've cut off this much more, so there. And here I've cut off this much more, so I'm going to draw it pointing the other direction. A good way to think about which way to point the acceleration arrow is which way would you push to make this happen. So I would push my car that way to make this happen, and I would push the car this way to make it come to a stop.